So I appreciate that. I'd like to call the Village of Weston Board of Trustees to order. I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, I'll stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I think I've honestly these 3 times tonight and probably 3 or 4 times today on the tube. It's pretty cool. Great day. Really good day. Anyway. We are roll call.
Maloney,
Here.
Cronin,
Here.
Ermeling, Jordan,
Here.
Pincinel,
Present.
Wyland is excused, and Zagami.
Wyland is on special assignment. Okay. Public comments. I've got, I think this is probably one of the first times we've had nobody in the audience. Maybe on social media we have. So anyway, but I have a public comment here to read, that was brought by trustee Pincinel, from a Joy Ratch Kramer. Let's see, heading is Parks Equipment. Thanks for following up on this, Jim, and for bringing this to the board. Replacing the playground was great. I just wish they'd made choices that benefit more than families with older children. I'm disappointed by how out of touch the park committee representatives seem to be with young families. Suggested I take my toddler to a public school playground with all the related security procedures and concerns on an afternoon when children are in school is frankly ludicrous. Our old equipment at Sand Hill Park was worn out, but it had shorter slides and climbing spaces for younger children. Those who aren't yet in school and actively want to use those spaces during the day. Perhaps the expectation is that this demographic is in daycare. If so, it is disappointing that that is assumed to be a universal experience. 5+ kids who are in school don't need these spaces during the day. Young families do. I mostly am upset that my tax dollars were spent on such an expensive project that doesn't actually meet my family's needs. I was thrilled to get new park equipment, but anyone with toddlers knows that a few token baby swings are not enough to keep them entertained. The committee ought to have looked at the examples at Depke Recreation Area, JoJo's Jungle, or even Rib Mountain State Park, and chosen multi-age spaces. It's frustrating to have to leave the neighborhood to find those spaces. Probably nothing that can be done now, but I hope that when the time comes to replace these structures, that the board will make better choices. Best regards, Joy Ratch Kramer, sent from a certain kind of phone. There we go. Okay, and minutes from previous meeting. Number 4, approval of December 16th, 2024 Board of Trustees meeting. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Cronin.
Second.
Ermeling already had said it, so second by Ermeling. On the question, anybody have any questions? Jim?
I do, yes. I wrote it item 48, but I don't think that's. I'm sorry, item 49, actually page 11. It says, not to ask question, which included. Included when the annual CVB meeting is held, and suggested the CVB hire a temp agency to administer the grants.
Item 49.
Are you in
In the minutes.
yeah,
Yeah, item 49 page.
okay, got it.
That's not at all what I said. I stated the Village of Weston could hire a temp agency for far less than the CVB is extorting the residents of the village for. That's what it said.
You did say that. Yeah, what does 49 say? Why can't I?
It says, ask questions and suggested the CVB hire a temp agency. I suggested the Village of Weston hire a temp agency in lieu of the CVB.
Yeah, actually in tourism minutes too, I noted that same thing, but it says Wyland said it, that you could, you can't hire an accounting firm to do something like, or you can hire an accounting firm to do it for 2.5. That was in the tourism minutes, but then that is what Jim said. So you're looking for a correction on that?
Please.
Okay. Any more corrections on the minutes? Anybody? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Acknowledge reports, minutes from boards, committees, commissions. We've got community life and public safety. We've got EMPD joint finance 4/10/24 and 7/19/24. EMPD joint finance and Everest Metro Municipal Court Finance 1/11/2024. Finance and Human Resources, Public Works, Safer Board 11/12/2024. Tourism Commission. And that's what I have in blue.
Move to acknowledge 5/79/13/15 concurrently.
Motion by Pincinot to concurrently acknowledge all of those. Do we have a second? Second by Ermeling on the question. Any questions on those? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Acknowledge reports from departments, administrator. You want to do them all concurrently or one at a time?
All concurrently is fine.
All concurrently. Let's
I'll make a
do,
motion to acknowledge items 17 through 25.
by Cronin. Second by Hussein. Anybody have any questions? Question, Jim?
Just for Public Works, the traffic lights on Mesker, were they originally supposed to be done in December or that was like the lead time to get the parts here and then Banner had to weld stuff or
Yeah, and
something?
then April, there's still one arm that's out, so we're trying to see if we can modify the northeast corner to get the lights mounted on that pole, so we can get that up.
So it's not behind.
It's not behind.
It's supposed to have been done in April originally.
April is the deadline from the contract, yeah.
No further
How
questions.
many, I mean,
For that stuff.
yeah, no, for Mesker and.
Traffic lights at
Schofield.
Mesker and Schofield Ave.
Yeah, well, it was December, but then I heard Van Ert, I heard April, and I heard some pieces weren't here yet.
December is when we got here.
Yep.
So, Van Aert's getting it all, and then they have to assemble it and let it rest, and then retorque the bolts. There's a process there before you can just put it up so that,
Reset it, I mean, let it rest on site?
at their shop. And then they'll bring it in and mount them, so.
I kept waiting for it to come up and it just.
Do you- when you-
December's here and gone.
I'm sorry, but Jim, you're the only one that would know this. When they assemble a car, do they have to let it rest? I'm sorry, that really sounds wild.
Interesting. We
Yeah.
do retorque faster.
Are they
so-
heting it or cooling it or,
I
I'm
think they
sorry.
just like make sure gravity, so when you don't put them out there and all of a sudden a wind load comes and a bolt was loose and
Okay,
now we've got an
Wow.
issue where a light just crashed on a car or something.
okay. So Public Works, their question and answered. Any more questions? No more questions. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? So carried. Work product transmittals. 26, acknowledge December building permits.
Move to acknowledge 26.
Okay, second by Ermeling. Any questions on 26? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 27, acknowledge quarterly development agreements report.
Move to defer acknowledgement of quarterly development report until February, when the report can be presented with current project statuses.
Anybody want to second it? Second it to get on the table? I'd like to find out why. Second by Zagami on the question.
So there's some stuff in here that's pretty aged, like. By laser failed the electrical inspection in February of 24. That's almost a year ago, and we haven't updated it, re-inspected it, done anything with it. And maybe we have, just the report doesn't reflect as such. Grotto hasn't been re-inspected since February of 24. I mean, that's 11 months. I'm not saying that the needle hasn't moved in 11 months, but the report does not acknowledge or state that. I think there's some stuff that's either the report isn't current or we need to acknowledge that we're way behind on this stuff. And I'm giving staff benefit of the doubt that we're not way behind.
You're what? You're not giving a?
I am giving them the benefit of the doubt
That we are
that
not-
this is, that we're not way behind and that we maybe just don't have the
Okay.
graph updated. So let's look at the graph next month.
So are we talking, are this a yearly inspections or are they quarterly
Quarterly.
inspections?
Well,
So, to the applied laser one, the electrical contractor still hasn't supplied us with a egress lighting plan.
Mhm.
I spoke with them Thursday or Friday last week, and they're
Mhm.
going through some changes in the office, with who's running the company. So the new person has gotten me 2 lighting plans in the last week out of the 3 they needed to supply.
And Jaegers?
That one, we have not been back on site for quite a while on that one, so
Okay.
we do need to get it updated and probably follow up on a couple of the inspections too.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second and some questions answered. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So carried. So we're moving at to February 28th. Acknowledge code enforcement report.
I'll move to acknowledge 28 and 29 concurrently.
Okay. Motion by Pincinel to acknowledge 28 and 29 together. Second by Ermeling. On the question, Jim?
In the code enforcement report, it shows there's a 2018 violation for, I believe the address is on Northwestern and Evolve. That isn't there, but I did see one for June of 24. Did we cut the grass in 18 or 24? Probably, right?
On Northwestern,
Isn't that the bottom? Oh, which one is dated
There's-
2018?
There's some that need to be closed out yet. I'm trying to go through that along with doing all plan commission things and keep up with your development agreement thing too. So essentially, yes, there's some mowing ones that need to be just closed out. I started doing that last week, trying to get this ready for you guys to look at. Yeah,
Okay.
hence the
essentially, this is
position
just
on
a
the
list of
agenda.
What's open.
This is a list of
Okay.
what's open. We may have to do this differently based off of some recent laws that are coming into effect about people and their property and their names. So I don't think you're gonna see this list like this. You might just get and Clips may just get a list of like the code violations, not exactly a list of the properties.
Might be similar to the police report where it indicates a block or a street,
And
but not an address.
I don't know if we can do that, so we may just put in the packet and I can always send it individually to the board, but there is some changes with, people are going to be able to opt out of having their names, something that the clerk's received, so we'll have to be careful on applications and things like that, showing people's names, addresses, things like that, so.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think we voted on that, correct? Correct. So a motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Consent agenda. What's your pleasure?
Approve vouchers as presented.
Motion by Pincinel. Second by
Second.
Cronin. On the question. Jim?
Page 28, check 63,671. Shows to Evolve for 22,500. Maybe I'm remembering totally wrong, but I thought it was 12 or 14,000 that we were spending on Evolve. Was there updates performed to the software or something different than our annual contractual agreement with them? Or 22,500 last year, and I'm just remembering.
That's the 22,500 is the annual fee.
So it's always been 22,500?
I can't,
Well, maybe not always, but so in last year it was 22,500.
I can't say for sure it was 22,500 exactly, but there might have been like a 3% increase, but it was.
Yeah, it was over 20. Yeah, it was over 20. Yep.
Green Valley Septic, page 4 and page 28. They're both for December, and one is 207 and one is $189. So is there like a Blue Water Friday sale or something?
Well, I mean, we have different areas that have to get pumped, right?
Don't we just pay for the greenhouse per month? Or
What
we're only
page is
paying
that?
for one house?
What page?
4.
Page 4 is for $207 and page 28 is for $189. For two different houses.
One is for, it notes Ryan Street.
So the 207, that includes a winterization, like they add additional,
Yeah, so they winterized the Ryan Street one in December, so then the January one is a regular.
So that's out at the stump dump.
Correct,
Yep,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay.
American overhead door, page 25, check 63,649 for $8,130. Was door 5 the same one we just fixed, or is that a different one?
door 5 is the one that was just fixed, correct?
So we fixed the second door for $8,000, or this is, but like, didn't we just have a recent repair to a door? I feel like we did.
We've had repairs to doors almost monthly, unfortunately.
Crashes or failures?
Equipment failures.
Okay, so, but we did not have American Overhead Door first.
No,
If we would have had them first, which, you know,
That's what
I think we all agree,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have these problems now. But we went with a crap place that we've used before for the fire department. And now we're paying, the inexpensive price the first time around.
Josh can attest to how many
Oh, yeah,
times.
I know all the stuff at the fire house, yeah, it's horrible.
Okay, good.
Not that it makes it okay, Jim, but. it's-
Yeah, no,
it's-
so this is
it's-
just.
it's just one of those classic examples that we-
Lowest bidder.
Buy the lowest bid and it's
I believe
crap.
that price, that financial exchange was for the motor that had blown up that they did not want to cover under warranty because it was the second time it blew up.
And it's hard to hear from the owners at Overhead Door, American Overhead Door, how wrong we are. Cause they're pretty loud. I know them very well. And it's, you know, but they're right. It's a real stinker. It's a fine line. To be told that you're making a huge mistake and you're not smart. So anyway. Okay.
Page 24, check 63, 647, Ace Hardware, $159. The sweatshirt called out, is that for a utility van?
It's not for a utility van. We had purchased several sweatshirts through Farrell. There was one that a size that Farrell no longer had in stock, so we purchased that from Ace instead.
Makes perfect sense.
Like a sweatshirt? A sweatshirt. Okay. But not $189 sweatshirt.
No, 159.
Heated.
It was a
It says
heated.
Milwaukee.
It's a heated sweatshirt.
I know they're in Weston, but boy, I hope we're checking Fleet Farm or online too.
Okay. Yeah, also on page 24, Ace Hardware, check 63, 647, $158, 55.88 for ice melt. So we literally have tons of salt like right there. Or there's some exclusive like super duper special salt that we can't use, or tons of salt in the salt shed.
I know that, I don't know that all of this, but we did get some for the front because what's in the back is very granulated. It's not, we didn't want it to be a tripping hazard or people to.
It's the big stuff. I know.
It's just, it's not fine enough for sidewalk coverage. And so we did get some for sidewalk coverage instead of taking it from the back.
So then it doesn't go into a spreader, and you can walk with a spreader, or how do you spread it?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we've got.
Because the big stuff can't go in a
shaker.
spreader.
Yeah.
A shaker. I mean, a $39 spreader works really well. Do you guys buy anything from Uline here?
Yeah,
Okay, Uline has it for half the price of Ace.
okay.
So I know that and you can buy a half pallet, have it sitting here. It doesn't ever go bad if you buy too much. And it fits in a $39 spreader really well. But anyway, and they deliver it. Okay,
And then,
Jim, any more?
yeah, Cellcom on page 16, 63565. It shows iPads, so do we, I'm just trying to get an understanding, so we rent iPads, my guess is, right? Or lease iPads from Cellcom,
You
Yeah.
lease the service, right?
Yes, the service and then there's the
the device, right?
device, yes.
And then it also shows a Microsoft Surface keyboards here, so we have Surface and iPads both in.
Yeah,
Utility
utility
vans are in
group, the
different-
utility group uses old services.
Some stuff can run on Apple and some has to run on Windows.
Got it, so you have to have both.
But you're
devices.
leasing,
You don't have to have both.
you're leasing to buy without interest, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I guess some people prefer one.
Okay. Okay. And then do we not have hotspots on our cell phones? Cause I see that you've got hotspots on here.
Yeah, we're taking those off. I just met with the rep. We used a hotspot for one of them for certain uses. But that is coming off the bill. Actually, half the stuff is coming off. We just got new replacements in for some of the older devices. And we're replacing those, and the hotspots will be used on the phones.
Fantastic, thank you.
I don't mean to elongate this, but on a point here, I heard you say, Michael, that some people don't like using, what are we talking about?
So-
Two different iPads?
iPad or a Surface. So one,
Windows.
But do they accomplish the same thing, but under two different?
Ford and Chevrolet.
But that's exactly where I'm going. So we bought a Chevrolet van and the employee wants to drive a Ford. I really don't like Chevys. I want to do a Ford. I'm not trying to be an ass here. Yes, I am. But I mean, can't you just say, hey, this is our platform? And
I agree.
Then-
And we have said that. We have some older surface models that are
Okay.
still in use. So
Okay,
I'm not gonna take the surface away and say you can't use it if it's still working.
but when they break, we go to the one system and then just retrain. Okay, okay. All right, sorry. Driving you nuts, Steve? All right.
No,
okay.
I agree with you 100, because I do the same thing. It's,
Yeah,
I'm the one who makes the decision, right? So
You're
at the end of the
making
day, if this is what I say is gonna happen, it's gonna
well, we're
happen.
making it harder for Nate, yeah, if he's gotta do two
I
different
agree.
platforms. We have a motion to, you done, Tim? Motion to approve and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Ordinances, none. Resolutions, none. Unfinished business. Discussion regarding update on a Kennedy Park renovation and capital campaign. Jamie, you got this?
This is an update item only from the last board meeting. It was asked that it would be a continuous item on every board meeting, so we will have an update. We just split the update between renovation and capital campaign. I would note, just to call out, that there is a parent who's very excited to organize benefit nights at area restaurants. He's already volunteered to organize 3, and the first one is at Polito's on Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m. So if you eat Polito's, I would encourage you to get Polito's on Thursday between 4 and 9, and 10% of the proceeds will go to the park. We understand that won't be the 14 million,
Yeah.
but it's something that this parent's excited to do.
Okay, so I have a couple, one, thank you to G Morty and his team for all the work performed to date. Two, who has approached Amazon and asked them for the opportunity to rename the entire park to Amazon Prime Park?
I'm sure
Sponsor
nobody.
The whole shooting
I'm
bench.
sure everybody knows it,
Okay, well,
but it's a good idea.
yeah.
That's the question. Finish? Are you finished?
No, not even close, but
Not
Thanks for
even
asking.
close, you said?
not even close.
Tim, can
That's
you just
letter
keep going?
Bravo.
Can you keep going?
Yep.
Mhm.
What is the official timeline for this project?
Our MOU with the Friends Group is that it's a 10-year capital campaign. If we are able to achieve in less than 10, that is great, but
Where would we find a phasing chart to identify what is included in what phases?
so the next piece of the strategic plan for the capital campaign would lay out how that would phase out probably for 5 to 7 years. And then the renovation piece, that's really, we're working on that right now with REI. The plans are about 90% completed. But depending on funding, pieces of that could move up or move back.
Are you asking about the phases of the park construction or the phases of the capital campaign?
Yes. So the
Which
capital
one? Which
campaign,
one?
it sounds like it's a 10-year deal and they don't have the phasing quite dialed in yet, but like this, we're on 1 Bravo Bravo. I don't know, what's 1 Alpha Alpha, what's 1 Alpha Charlie?
Sure, so phase 1 baseball, and that was part of I think that was part of the corp or the Kennedy Park Master Plan discussion. 1 BB is the phase 1 baseball, which was the south field, between the skate park and the aquatic center. Then phase 1H, I think it was just kind of the hockey, the northwest corner. We can make sure we include a copy of the phasing plan.
There's no
subsequent ones.
timeline though, like one hotel should be done by such and such a time. We're gonna design 1 hotel first, we're gonna design all of them and then.
Yeah, so
figure it out.
the design drawings requirement was that phase 1 be designed first. I think they had March to get that done. And then after that, I think they have until the end of August to get the rest of the park to a point where if all of a sudden Amazon or some big donor came in and said, I want to build this today, we would have the plans ready to go for that.
Good.
Okay.
Has any of that information been shared on the website so the public can follow along with a project of this magnitude?
So right now we have
We have a landing page for KennedySchool.com or something.
We do have a landing page with the 3D rendering. I was looking to see, this is but that's not, the phases aren't on there. We can add the phasing. This is the master plan, but Michael did one with like a colored code over the top with phasing. I was trying to find it in the,
Yeah, I have seen that in the
Yeah.
past. Okay, good. Who's in charge of the project and what aspects are they responsible for?
so the renovation piece, I would say, is a collaboration between Michael, Sean, and I, as far as working with REI, and then REI would actually do they're gonna help to solicit out the bid package. And then the capital campaign is the Friends. Was, when we've had this conversation previously, it was expressed that the village can't be in charge of the fundraising, that the Friends would be in charge of the fundraising, but that we would have input in that through either the Parks Committee or myself being involved and then giving updates back.
Departure letter from G Morty, he had some words of wisdom or direction. Is anything being done with that advice or doing anything? What planning is being done? I know it's in like size 2 font and you gotta zoom 1,000 times, but are we doing anything with this stuff? I thought he had some very good words of wisdom, like, hey, this is your next step, or do this stuff. Are we doing anything with it, or who's doing stuff with it, or what are we doing with it?
It was forwarded to the Friends and it would be part of the strategic planning process that we would go through. I did put in the memo, though, that I don't know at this moment that we are ready to re-engage a marketing firm. I think we have to focus on that strategic piece and maybe see if we need some assistance with the development of that strategic piece. Because until we decide how we want to flow through that ask, I don't know that we need additional marketing pieces. We do have all of the stuff that Gerald did to date, and I think we could utilize that for a while. The only other piece with that is having a videographer. And we could contract with someone, a third party, in order to do those video needs.
With Kennedy Park being utilized by Wassa Events this year, what collaboration and donation efforts have been made to work with them on fundraising? Like when you sell the ticket for the Oktoberfest outfit, can you donate $5 to the new Kennedy Park Good tomorrow?
Yep, so I reached out to Ally, who's their executive director, about sitting down and having that conversation. At this moment, what she has said is that she's open to collaboration and we just would need to decide what that would mean. Her board is meeting at the end of this week to finalize the schedule of events for next year, and then it would be released, and then we'll work through what that programming means. I don't know that it would be a percentage of for the ticket sale, but she did say that we could have booth space there. Maybe we could run a 50-50 raffle if we got a raffle license, if the Friends got a raffle license, those kinds of things. It's possible maybe baseball has a raffle license, I'm not sure, but we will work through those details.
How much money has been raised to date?
And so the Community Foundation releases around the 15th of the month where they're at, but Januaries are always delayed as they finish up the end of the year. So Sarah will get me that number as soon as they're released by the Community Foundation. But we know that the $25,000 donation from baseball was received and 2 additional $500 donations. So
approximately 26,000.
approximately.
Plus our ARPA funds.
But those aren't at the foundation.
No, right, they're inside us, yep.
What's the current expenditure on the project to date?
I would have to look. I don't know off the top of my head. It would at least be what we paid G Morty and what we've contracted with for REI.
So finance does a fabulous job of creating like a line item budget. Is it something you could, like expenses and receipts, could you do something like that for this, of the, hey, we've spent this thus far and we have this number of dollars in the fund balance or in the community fund balance, or?
Potentially, yes. I mean, it's just that, again, we neither hold the funds at the Community Foundation nor are they in our name. So youth baseball has to share that number with us. By our agreement, they will share it with us quarterly. But the total dollar amount.
So those numbers that we get would be behind by a month or whichever, and that's fine. What's the budget for repair and maintenance versus the current status? So if tomorrow, poof, all this popped up, how many dollars do we have to commit to repair and maintain these fields and additional personnel to I'll clean the concession shack or whatever we got.
What are you asking?
Long-term care.
Of
What's
the
the
existing
budget?
park, of the
What's the-
existing park.
Oh, what's the budget for repair and maintenance of 2035 or whenever this thing is done?
Okay.
Kennedy Park versus today Kennedy Park?
Okay.
What's the additional cost?
We don't have a village budget for 2026 yet. Are you serious? I'm sorry. I'm sitting here listening to this and I understand where you're going. But at the same time, I don't think it's realistic to ask for some of those numbers this early in the game. I really don't. I don't know how you can budget for 2035 right now. So if
Well,
you,
you
I mean,
can't, you can't. It's impossible.
So my thanks, Steve, but I'm not asking to budget for 2035. I'm saying if the park blew up tonight and it was put together when you went home tonight to sleep and you woke up tomorrow morning, what would it cost to repair and maintain that park tomorrow?
Jim, why would
that's
we?
not
do-
gonna happen. So
Jim,
why are we even talking
What,
about
that
this?
ain't, you know
Because
that's.
why would you spend
Jim, it's not-
$16 million on a project and have no idea how to repair and maintain it?
It's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser. You know, this 33 is a discussion regarding an update. This isn't a committee meeting. This isn't gonna go on for 45 minutes. This is an update on the Kennedy Park renovation.
Just asking if
That's what it
anyone
is.
looked at it, what it would cost to repair and
No.
maintain it.
No,
No, okay,
we
so
were
it's
building this building and we didn't know what it was gonna cost to maintain it.
I know that, and that
Oh,
was
I know.
a terrible
Nice,
decision.
nice smirk. Yep, I know. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way that it is. Yep, you're right. I mean, I disagree with you, but go ahead. Now, do you have any more questions?
Excuse me, Mark.
I'm just gonna check one more. I just want to
Okay.
get this finished up. Are you almost done?
That's all I have.
No,
Yeah.
keep going. You're done? Okay, Hussein, go ahead.
Are you asking for new facility gonna be built in there or?
Mhm.
If you're asking new facility, but when they design it, they should come out with the maintenance costs. They will, let's put it that way.
I'm just asking for that number, Hushain.
Yeah, I know what you're correct, but at the same time, when they design that, they have a better idea of what they design and what's gonna take to fix it. Right now, he doesn't know what he's designing really. So,
You know, G Morty isn't here anymore because of some of this. So
I was gonna.
you
that
can,
was-
you can take it for whatever you want it. I don't care. Go ahead and call them if you want. But I gotta tell you, if I was a native of this area, went to DC Everest and everything I do is in this area. And I was treated the way I was publicly by several people. You know what? I probably would have done the same thing. I would have said, I'm out. I'm not gonna sit and listen to this. And this constant barrage of where are we? Why isn't it done? Why aren't the kids playing yet? It's $15 million. It's exactly right. It's $15 million. You know, this building here, I think it was in the works for 15 years. I think the Green Egg Turner was, I mean, that was actually a quick one, but probably for 5 or 6 years. And we're expecting this thing to, I mean, one of the meetings, I remember somebody on this board asked if we're gonna be starting to turn dirt next year. And I'm just going, whoa, you know? So anyway, but I had a great conversation with G Morty, Gerald, and I would have done the exact same thing he did. Exactly. There was just a lot of naysaying, a lot of public comments about how their kids could have done a better job. And it's just ridiculous verbiage, especially publicly and at this level, just ridiculous.
well.
So
you just-
anyway,
I don't know, you just answered my question.
yeah.
Because I was gonna ask, why this marketing people took the job?
He's- I begged him, along with our administrator, that we would want to work with them in the future on future projects, along with, Everest has worked with them on a lot of projects. And the same thing there, but on this one, no, it's
So why you
finished.
quit? What was the reason?
There's a lot of naysaying, that he wasn't communicating, wasn't getting things done. He wasn't in charge of the project. And it's a collaboration of some different things. We're actually still fine tuning to get this to work. And everyone expects us just to start the next day. And this is tough stuff to
Is
get
that
this
our
riled
fault
up.
and we didn't work with
No,
them?
it's a combination of a bunch of things. If you're talking about G Morty.
Right.
If you're just talking about him, it's a combination of a lot of players. And it just didn't fit in what he wanted to do. You know, when you own your own company, you get to decide what you want to do.
Right,
And if you think the stress and anxiety is more than you want to handle, you move on to something else. And he graciously left us very nicely, very, very well done. I had several conversations with him and I tried really hard to get a little bit more, and you know what? And I thought, nope, this guy's telling the truth. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. He's got more business
Well,
than
I
this.
know him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. So anyway, that's where it is.
Oh, I was wondering.
Yeah, so, yep. All right, so discussion, no action needed there. 34, discussion regarding an update on the potential addition of pickleball court at Mock Miller Park. So I don't know who's gonna start this, maybe you, Sean, but I've had several calls from several different people, pickleball people. And some of them actually backed off and said, you know, and maybe they weren't speaking for the club, and maybe you'll have a lot more to say. Maybe Shane will, maybe somebody else will. But I heard some comments that, you know, maybe we don't need 16, maybe it's just 8. You know, maybe there's more stuff happening. The Y is doing more stuff. I read today, I think, that Marathon Park or Weston is turning some tennis courts into pickleball courts. I don't know where this is all going. I think one of the Ys is now 24/7. You can go in with a key card and play pickleball, I guess. I don't know. My neighbor told me that, Dave Davies. But so I don't know where this stretches out. You know, one of the members called and said, you know, when is this gonna plateau? You know, because he expects it to plateau at a certain point, and then maybe we'll have, you know, too much in the area if whatever. So that's just all I'm gonna say. I'm sharing the conversations I've had with some people, and now Sean, you take over.
So there is an update in the packet, and in my report also, just some of the stuff that's taken place. Jamie and I meeting with Lisa and Paula from the Wassa area pickleball. I also met with, Wassa Marathon County Parks Director, because they were at their city council a couple weeks ago. They voted to convert 2 tennis courts at Alexander Park to 3 pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
courts.
Yep.
They received some additional funding for that and for their skate park. And then just to verify what's going on with their 9 courts at Marathon Park, which is currently undetermined, so. They have some
That could be
planning
like-
meetings in the next couple months.
That could be 2 years out, right? Is what I read?
It could be multiple years
Oh,
out,
okay.
because they're trying to determine what to do with the pickleball courts
Yep.
at Marathon Park, because currently the West Side Master Plan does not show pickleball in Marathon Park in the future. So if they would decide to move them based on their plan, then there would be no courts there for a while, and there'd be courts there, and they'd be building additional courts elsewhere, so. That's pretty much the update as far as our most recent communications with the group and with Wassa, just to determine where they are going with future courts.
Okay.
The basketball court, what they're talking about is the existing courts. And then when I was designing this and I met with the park committee, and I asked him if we can have those to add to it, because 9, it is not enough. Right now, you go there is at least 20 people walking around waiting for a court, and all the rest of them are pool and they're playing. He said, we can convert that basketball court to the tennis court, which I was proposing to them. But they have to find a place for a basketball court.
Okay.
So, because it's been used, basketball court being used. They have problem with it, but it's still being used.
Maybe it's been said already, but the tennis courts that got taken out of PC Everest by the football, is that, what's happening with that? Do we know?
They,
They have proposed green space
Green
there.
space,
Oh, just green space?
Mhm.
What do you mean, like green cement or green grass?
green grass.
Grass,
Really?
back into grass.
Wow. That'd be great to have a couple pickleball courts there.
so, but there are some citizens, I was here. I just need some information, and there was a lady standing in the line to pay her tax, and I had no idea who she was, but I know she was a citizen. She said, what happened to this tennis court? I said, what, it's in the process, so.
Yeah.
I mean, pickleball, okay.
I
was
gonna say, I know you meant pickleball.
courts come?
No, I know.
Well, I'm sorry.
So that's kind of where we are, just up there still in limbo with it. Yeah.
If it is gonna go to Mark Miller Park, so let it be. And if you wanna do it, I think we should plan for it and move on forward with it and do it. And then number 16, the reason for that is because I already talked to the tourism And I said, we'll also take the Badger State tournament in winter time at the tennis center. If we put the court in Village of Weston, we want the summer tournament be in the Village of Weston. And they agree with it. There was no argument. They said, that's fine, yes. So,
Okay, everybody done on the update? 35. Oh, Jim, go ahead.
Is there private finance room for that? Similar to, that's what we originally talked, like, do we need to create a MOU like we did with the Friends of Kennedy Park? Is this gonna be the pickleball friends or?
well, if we decide to go forward with it, yes, we go through the process and it's no different. That's the investment, and we are partnering with these people. If they're gonna contribute to the project, they are our partner with the taxpayer of this village. Therefore, they should do their part.
We did send the Kennedy Park MOU to the president and vice president, just so they had on what we would be looking for.
Any more? Anybody else? All right, 35, discussion and or action on establishing guidelines regarding special meeting payments for trustees. Talking about this, I want to make sure Jamie, the administrator staff wants to make sure that we understand what we voted for, okay? So, you know, in talking about this, I think we did $10 more for committee and $10 more for commission. There's some dates that are goofed up in here, if you've seen this. It says Jim and Jamie Wyland approved starting on 5/1/24, but I'm pretty sure it meant 5/1/25 or 1/1/25, right?
They made a substitute, an additional motion to
Yep.
that.
And
So it's January one.
it is January, okay,
Yes.
January, other than I didn't put it all together then. So that's done already, right?
Yes.
So the $10 on commissions, the committees are done. All right, so now, all we're now talking about is the trustees.
And it would only be the trustees
Yep.
that would be elected in April.
Yep. So we're not even starting it yet until the April elections are done. So, so possibly it'll affect 4 people. And, let's see. What we want to make sure is that, okay, so if you're on a committee or on a commission, you know, you would get the $50, right? But a board meeting is a no, that's part of your job.
A regular board meeting.
A regular board meeting is, yep, and then
Board of review.
a board review also, right?
So 13 regular meetings
Yep.
annually for the Board of Trustees.
Yes, okay. So what we wanted to question was, how about budget? There could be 5 special meetings for budget. We want to question, I think that everyone should agree with this. So tonight, I was here for finance, but that was me. So that's not paid, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if you decide to go to more meetings, you're not gonna get paid. If you're put on committees or commissions, you will get paid. If you're called to a special meeting as a trustee, you would get paid. One of the questions I had for the administrator is, we haven't done it at Safer, but at the Oversight Committee, we decided not to get paid from the Metro, Mountain Bay Metro Police Department, because we wanted all the monies to go to safety. But I'm there on behalf of Weston. You know, I'm the representative for Weston. So I'm there. Why wouldn't I get paid the $50? And I guess on Safer, I'm there on behalf of Weston. Why wouldn't I get paid the $50? I'm not saying Rib Mountain or Rothschild would get paid, but I mean, in essence, yes, as an elected official, this is what I got elected to do, okay? But if we're gonna decide on these stipends, then I'm the only person in that room other than the other 5 people that aren't getting paid. Everybody else there is getting paid. Everybody.
So can I just, I want to
Yeah.
clarify one thing, because I want
This
to
is
make
open
sure.
discussion. This is open discussion for everybody. Okay, go ahead.
Currently now, the trustees and the president, Jessica, correct me, just get the salary.
Yes.
Do they get the additional $50 or $60 per meeting now?
No,
You just get the salary.
correct.
So even with the appointments going forward, those aren't special meetings, so you wouldn't get that additional, right?
Yes.
Because the motion was for special.
The motion was for what? No, not special.
Yeah.
It was also for appointments, I thought.
Because
The appointments are considered regular too?
well, it says Also leave president and trustee as is, and for special meetings that they are expected to be in attendance to be compensated $50 based on when they were sworn in. So if you're appointed, is that a special meeting?
Jim, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking
So I made the motion. My intent of that was not that. My intent was the 13 meetings, so 12 regular meetings. But plus the joint review board or board of review, whatever. That's expected, right? You may be appointed to one committee or commission, you may be appointed to 11 committees or commissions. Every meeting that you were agendized to attend would qualify for the stipend. So I made some, I guess, clarifications to that I'd like to go through, that maybe calls it out better. The motion should be clarified to state that a meeting posted and agendized for standing committees and subcommittees is eligible for the stipend with the exception of 12 regular board meetings and 1 regular board of review meeting. Attendance of meetings elsewhere is encouraged, but will not be paid the stipend. For example, if the entire board was here for the finance meeting just prior to the board meeting, and they were in attendance, this would not be a meeting paid to those in the audience. Even if a member made comments during public comment or was queried by the finance committee, they would not be compensated for such meeting. If there was not a quorum of the meeting and a board member was asked by the chair or vice chair in his or her absence to sit in on the committee or commission for purposes of meeting a quorum, then it would be a paid stipend event. If a member requested to sit on a committee or commission, which was not full and it was not required for a quorum to be met, they would not be eligible for a stipend. If the president or administrator requested a board member to be present at a meeting, that request would be presented to the board for approval based on the situation. And then the motion should be clarified to state that the stipend is not paid to any member attending virtually or via Zoom.
That's what I thought too, you know, on the appointments, yeah.
I'm actually fine with all that wording. The only one I have that the only part of that I would prefer to see change would be, I don't think the board should have to approve. I think if the administrator or President Maloney say, hey, we don't have a quorum, or for whatever reason, they are requesting someone to be at that meeting, they are the only two that should have that authority, and it shouldn't have to come here for approval.
Well, I felt, and Jamie thought the same thing. It's gonna be kind of a lot to grasp as we get going. And I don't think it's fair that staff has to decide, well, now, wait a minute, should she or he get paid? I just think maybe for our first couple months after April, we kind of go through this a little bit, so we get a gist of what this is, and so we get a gist of what this is gonna cost. You ain't gonna get paid till next year. So you're Jasper still. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess my question would be, here a couple months ago, I met the administrator and I met with Jim
Mhm.
to discuss some
Mhm.
questions he had, and I just wanted to hear it from staff rather than
Mhm.
going back and forth. Was that considered a meeting?
Cha-ching.
That's dumb. I'm so.
Oh, it could be dumb.
That's not what my
You don't
understanding
think so?
It's a meeting.
What I wrote in here was if the president or administrator,
Oh, agenda.
because in order to make that meeting happen, Barb, how did we get there? The administrator or the president had to ask us to attend that meeting, right? So if the president or administrator requested a board member to be present at a meeting, such as that meeting, that request would be presented to the board for approval. So I don't feel as though that should have been a paid
Oh,
meeting.
that's true.
However, it can come to the board and they can decide if one of us has a strong feeling one way or the other, right? I agree with you. I don't think that should be a paid meeting.
I think it should
Wanna
be,
take a moment here?
I think it should be
These two agree.
agenda meeting.
You wanna just take a moment here?
It's on camera.
Just a real quick.
Loud.
Okay, I just wanna, that's, it's a first. I'm just teasing both of you. All right, so I agree. I agree with that.
Well.
Yeah, it's gotta be agenda. It's gotta be agenda. And if we're short and we can bring somebody in now tonight, we know that commissioners, you can't add commissioners. The commission stands as it is. So planning and tourism, you either got a quorum or you don't. You can't add. But finance, if you can add a person in, you bring a person in like Husheng, he gets paid. Okay, go.
So if you change that wording to agenda, then it changes it, correct? Because then then the meetings where, you know, Barb, you and Jamie get together would not qualify because it's not on the agenda.
I have that on here somewheres.
My meetings though, my meetings with you or others or here or signing, no pay,
Yeah.
right? Just so we all,
That's
that's
kinda
kind of, we
my
understand that, yeah.
It's not agenda.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
But.
Well, and we don't have a quorum either.
But.
If it's
neither
agenda,
was
we'd
that
have to have a
meeting.
quorum.
It wasn't an agenda meeting, but what you're saying is it would be brought forward for approval.
Correct.
Would a trustee, if you guys came to that meeting and you said, I requested this meeting and I just wanted it for clarification, don't put it on the agenda, is that acceptable? Because the trustees would determine that they didn't want payment?
Correct. If it is required by state law to hang an agenda out front,
That's
that's
the
what
only
I'm,
time you're getting
Yep.
paid.
Yeah, Jim comes in to talk to planning for a half an hour.
Doesn't matter.
No pay, right, same with me,
correct.
same with
But
everybody.
if we're required to post a meeting notice.
Mhm.
Now, if there's an inauguration event that we're all invited to, right?
Or a holiday
And-
party. We're not getting paid for that.
Party,
we're-
because you don't
have
get
to
paid for that, right?
Post a notice of possible quorum, that is not.
No. No, like if we're all going to the fire department meeting over in Mosinee, no.
Correct.
Okay. I just think it'll be healthy to do this for a couple months after April. Just so that we all, kind of get the thing, whether you agree or not
I
on the
know.
pay. So I was gonna do a raise this year, but then I did a stipend because I knew you wouldn't want a raise, so. Anyway, yeah, oh, you can give it away. You can give it
I
to
still get taxed. on
charity,
it.
yeah. Okay,
You
we'll
want
just
that
give
in a
away
motion,
up to the taxes and just keep the taxes.
You want that in a motion?
Yeah, we can discuss and or action. Yeah, let's do that.
So I move to direct staff to incorporate these guidelines into a document to be discussed and acted upon at the February 2024 regular Board of Trustees meeting. I'll reread that.
Second,
Motion by Pincinel, second by Cronin.
I don't think you need to reread it. I think if you
Yeah,
just
I think we're good.
submit it, I think.
All
it's
those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed? So carried. So just so we're all also know this, that it's for the 4 elected officials coming up this time. And next year, the next 3 would be up for that.
Well, when you guys are president and trustees, do you get double?
No, single, but you know what, we'll loop our money together and have a couple of parties. How's that? All right, 36, discussion and or action on modifications, sushi. So discussion and or action on modifications to the employee personal policy. And procedures handbook, chapter 14, employee separations and retirements.
move to adopt the amendments to the employee personnel policies and procedures handbook, chapter 14, employee separations and retirements, as amended and recommended by the Finance and HR Committee.
So we have a motion by
Second
Pincinel,
that.
second by Ermeling on the question.
Would the board like to hear what the modifications were?
Not really, but go ahead.
The modifications had to do with number 8 about the education reimbursement program, that form is reviewed due to recent legislative changes regarding the clawback period language with reimbursement of tuition. And the other piece is on the reference check release form that we indicate immediate supervisor and or the HR personnel, that it's specific and not just village of Weston.
How would that affect like our inspectors? So we put them through some more or additional training and then there's a clawback on that?
No, this would be if you wanted to seek outside education and then ask for reimbursement for your tuition, not on the job training.
Okay, all right. I mean, okay, perfect. So we had to hear it anyway. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 37, discussion regarding sale of surplus equipment.
To acknowledge sale of surplus property and thank you to board for taking good care of this stuff and so you can get real dollars back on the backside. Otherwise that truck would just went to Jaegers for $100 a ton.
Motion by Pincinel,
Second.
second by Cronin. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. New business. Let's see, discussion and action on president's appointments to committees and or commissions. And I think we have somebody for finance HR tonight.
Brent Olson.
I'd like to appoint Brent Olson to the finance and HR committee, if you were here earlier, he was sitting in this chair. And our newest member actually was activated tonight, and that was
Dennis Farr.
Dennis Farr. He's good. Well, he's got a natural megaphone in him, huh? I just wonder if he would be able to carry like that really well. I mean, I couldn't hear the board hardly at all, except when he went, holy mackerel. So good stuff. I am making that appointment for finance and HR. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve Brent Olson to finance HR.
Motion to approve by Cronin, second by Ermeling. Anything on the question? Yes?
Can we get a organizational chart, like in the packet when we do this, just so it's not a surprise?
Like a current one?
Well, Pam's really good at sending us a current one after the
Yeah.
fact, but,
No, we just got one. We just got one about a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
but now you have a new one because you just
Oh,
made a new
okay.
appointment, right? So if we had that.
Yeah, well, we might not have appointed it. So she'd be doing all that
but-
paperwork,
so-
all that work for nothing.
She doesn't have to do a new sheet for that. It would be the sheet with the vacant, and then the vacant will be lined out with Brent Olson, for example.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll get her done. All right. So that's done. Do we vote on it? No, that was a question. So any more questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Welcome aboard, Brent. 39, discussion and or action on board, committee, commission agendas made available by social media and e-newsletter.
I asked for this to be on there. So it's 2025 now.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the minimum state requirement is to publish stuff in Wausau Daily Herald, but who subscribes to it here? No one, right? And if you ask the same question to our 16,000 residents, you'll probably get like 4 hands that come up. Newspapers are dead.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the agenda? Posting it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but when it's posted, it's on our website.
Actually, we only have to post it to our website and on the
Yeah.
front door. It doesn't get posted to the.
Yeah, it doesn't go in there no more.
I understand that, but many of all the like important notices, the class 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 stuff has to go on the paper. No one reads that either. I guess the intent of this is to encourage transparency, get participation from 16,000. You had said, well, gosh, there's nobody in the audience. Yeah, sometimes there's one person, 1 out of 15,999 that are at home. That's like, let's encourage folks to come to these things. Let's tell them, hey, we're talking about these 14 things tonight. I think that is important. We share that we have a blood drive, or we have leaf pickup next week, or we have whichever. I don't think it's wrong to share in our e-newsletter, like, hey, these are the things we're gonna talk about tonight at the board. So it's, you don't get the blindside email and go, well, when were we talking about this playground stuff? We talked about changing the playgrounds for how long? And Parks had how many meetings?
We don't have that on Wednesdays, on our newsletter, our e-newsletter?
So our e-newsletter goes out on Tuesdays every
Oh.
week. And we do post the meetings and the times, but the agenda's not ready till Wednesday, and then we don't publish again till Tuesday, so the meeting's already over. We could do a separate, we could have Adam do a little blurb that says, meeting released, and go to the, here's where you get the agenda. We could do that on Wednesdays when it's released.
I mean, but Wednesdays aren't always completely finished, but I would for sure do them on Thursdays. I think a
And it could be
Thursday,
Thursday too.
a Tuesday blast, a Thursday blast. What is it? Nothing, right? I mean, does it cost us anything? No.
Not to post it on Facebook,
Yeah.
no.
No, I don't get Facebook. So how do I get it? I get a text?
When the agenda is released, there's a means of which to release it to whoever is signed up to get those agendas, yes.
So I signed up. Yes, I did.
So the website also has a feature that, and maybe that needs to be put out in the e-news again and the newsletter. People can sign up for certain committee. They can
Mhm.
sign up for the board. I mean, I
see
get
it
a
in there.
message,
The
it'll send
elections
you
in
a
there. Yep,
text.
yep.
And it'll say meeting agenda is available, click here. So there's a multiple different ways. We just probably need to get better at
Well,
telling people that it's there.
The
so
biggest
that-
thing I always heard was the meetings for the week need to be on the front page. I shouldn't have to look for them and try to find them. And I think they are. I think Safer and Oversight's on there now too.
Yes,
And
and
so-
Nathan has it hooked up so it goes to the
Yeah.
agenda too, so if you
You
click
got a
on-
question, but I just want to ask him quick. So are you actually asking it to go on Facebook?
Yeah, all of our social,
Okay.
next door, the Twitter, TikTok, whatever you guys all do in that office.
We don't have a Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Twitter doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah, Zigzag is back on, or TikTok, whatever the hell. Okay, so boy, if you bought some stock in Red Button in
Instagram.
that half a day, what did you make a big mistake? because TikTok came back. Anyway, question.
Instead of doing the newsletter, can we just do social media? I mean, we do have some pretty awesome features on the website. I do see a lot of other municipalities in the area that post their agendas on Facebook, and I don't think that would be.
But not only, in addition.
In
So
addition,
Josh talks highly on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. I never will be on Facebook. I won't be voting for this. I'll vote for our e-newsletter, but I'm not a fan of Facebook. I don't. It's whatever. So I'm a fan of phones and going across the street and talking to my neighbors, but anyway. All right, I'm done. My little opinion. Sorry. I know you love
so
Facebook.
does it need to be two separate motions then? Maybe one for newsletter and one for. Facebook?
Motion away. Go ahead.
Just throwing that idea out
I ain't
there.
gonna win this one. So go ahead. It's okay. I need to be on the opposite side once in a while.
The agendas, because our meetings fall on the Monday, our newsletter either would have to switch to a different day or it would have to be just on Facebook.
Why can't we not have all the, and I'm using clutter, but it's not negative, all the, it's the freebies, like at Jimmy John's, okay? Instead of having all the freebies on there where I gotta try to find out where, if we have a new vote in there, you know, cause I like to vote in there. Why can't it just be Why can't it just be an agenda? So that everyone knows that you're not gonna get all this stuff on here, you're just gonna get the agendas on Thursday, that's it. And if Thursday, the letter comes out and says there's no agendas for next week, then there's no agendas. But if we get everybody to get in the habit, now you can do the Facebook thing, go ahead and do the whole Facebook thing, I don't know how it works. But why can't Thursdays just be for agendas? That's it.
Then I would-
If you do it two different
Yeah,
ways.
so you could
Yeah.
put on your Tuesday newsletter, stay tuned till, you know, on your Tuesday e-newsletter that you're already doing, just a one line of agendas for, we have tourism, finance, and
Area meetings, I mean, or
Right.
Village of Weston
will
meetings.
be released on Thursday, and then you'll send that blast out on Thursday. That way you don't have to change your newsletter and you don't have to sift through all your freebies to get.
And
Cool.
do Facebook, TikTok and all that, go
But
ahead.
then you want it sent through, because then we're essentially doing 2 newsletters a week. If you want it-
The newsletter is just the agenda.
Yeah, one is just the agenda, the other one is all the stuff you guys are talking about all week long, or in a couple weeks, and maybe advertising a little bit. But we're not printing, right? We're not sending it nowhere, we're actually creating it, putting it on, however you do that, and then you mass mail it.
Well, it gets mass emailed. It's just at this moment, because of staff transition, I'm taking care of the Tuesday
Well,
newsletter.
you're doing a hell of a job,
Well,
you're doing a
thanks.
hell of a job.
So I'm like, Tuesday and Thursday?
Would it be easier to just push your newsletter to Wednesday or Thursday, so you have all the jazz, like, is Tuesday a critical day to get your
No,
newsletter out?
I don't know why we ever, I'm not sure what the backstory is around Tuesday. I think it was just the day that we did it.
Well, if you skip Tuesday, go to Thursday, because it's more of a weekend thing, and then just put the agenda up on top, what?
One shot, one kill.
Yeah, but put the agenda first. Yeah. Twice in one night.
And I don't see any reason why we couldn't switch to Thursday and
I've noticed on social media too, a lot of the different municipalities that I've seen, they post their agendas for the meetings like on that day. So it's getting in front of people, like if we have a board meeting on a Monday night, they're posting it Monday morning. So you're seeing it that day, it's like, oh, I gotta do this, you know, I wanna go to this tonight.
You for sure gotta get it on next door for Mike Mullen.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you gotta definitely, 'cause Dino can't handle him alone. So we gotta
Well,
help
did you get your
Mike Mullen.
think about what our newly elected are gonna budget?
Yep, Mike Mullen, yep. And I'm gonna go down to McDonald's and talk to him. All right, so I think we got a plan here, don't we? Jim, you wanna make a motion?
I can, I move to direct staff to incorporate the current and future meeting agendas into the e-newsletter and social media platforms that are currently being used, and adjust the newsletter release schedule to Thursday.
Okay, motion by Pincinel. Second by
I'll second it.
Second by Cronin. Maybe change the word staff to administrator,
Okay.
just a little bit of humor, not much. Anyway. Anything on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. 40, discussion to review the projects completed and expenses paid to MD Roffers Consulting LLC from 2016 to present.
I requested it. I can take it unless one of you guys wants to jump in first.
If you want to start, and then I think Jen put together a nice summary in the package.
So thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate it. A lot of times I hear his name come up and I don't feel like we always have the biggest understanding of how much time and energy he puts into something and how much money that we spend on it. So I mean, so what I'm seeing is 9 years, we're at $200,000. Is that about correct?
About $22,000.
And I see the biggest year was 2020 when we did Weston Avenue corridor plan. I know we have our comp plan coming up. There's the park, because we have to redo the parks plan as part of that as well. Correct. I guess my question is, are there gonna be multiple years coming up with all the different things that gotta be updated that we're gonna be looking at $49,000 or $50,000? Or
So-
just,
Yeah, but we've only had one of those years.
we've only had one, but
In
there's a
20.
lot.
So
Coming up.
So in the budget I did get an estimate for the second half, so that conditions and issues, which is going to be next year in 2026, will be more expensive. Just because that's going to be more, that's kind of the meat of the plan. So we do a lot of the mapping in-house, and since we did it before, it'll just be updating some of the mapping. But there's also, Jamie and I will be doing public participation aspects of it, and it just depends on how much we need. We haven't really talked about that yet. And how much Mark is involved in that, or how much staff can do. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody else kind of facilitating it, since they're an outside person and they don't necessarily, we would just, the plan commission board and staff would be listening, things like that. So those would just be the only projects right now would be the comp plan. And so there is this year's and then next year's. I've always got something in my budget just for the occasion that I need somebody to help. That was put in, like I said, starting in 2015, kind of with the start of the Camp Phillips Center project. Like if all of a sudden we got 5 or 6 major building plans that we needed to get through and I couldn't do it all, or whoever was on staff here, he's able to do some of that. I've never really used him like that, but he does help us with some code updates and things like that when we need it. We also use that for other consultants, like the RPC has done some things for us too, so.
I was the most vocal 5 years ago. All kinds of questions. I had a lot of talks with you, a lot of talks with, whatever. And to look at this now, 9 years, 22 grand. And then hearing you during finance, with what's happening and how short we are here and how we're going through people. If we went to lost Emily to the move, she'd probably still be here.
She would, yeah.
But the others, yeah, it just is, it is what it is. And it's sometimes they're just not the right fit, as much as we think they are, but they're not. But every time it puts us in a hell of a pickleball.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But anyway, so 22 grand, yeah.
It's nice because he knows the community
Well,
and he's actually
but
met with a lot of business
He
owners.
does know more. I mean, he knows Rhinelander because he's with Rhinelander too. He knows a lot of this northern stuff. He's in Madison. I don't know why I had such an issue with him. And I mean, he jumps on, he takes care of stuff. I mean, for 22 grand, you couldn't hire anybody to even think about that.
That was my point. I
Yeah.
admittedly, when
Once you
I
saw it-
asked for this, I expected that number to be higher.
I agree.
I did.
I did
And
too.
then I saw the 200,000 and I'm like, okay,
9 years.
9 years,
Yep.
that's
I know.
Yeah,
it's
and-
not terrible,
And
but
with the 2020, there was COVID, we had to revamp the whole
But we
plan.
had him here a lot. We had him here for the signs. We had him all physically here.
It's nice
Yeah.
for me because I don't have to
When he's
bring him
here-
up to speed.
When
been-
he's here, you're smiling.
Well, because he
So
knows.
you are.
He
You
knows
are.
the community and
'Cause he
we're
helps you.
comfortable with
Yeah.
him. He's an
Yep.
extension of us without having to pay another person.
Yeah.
how often are we reevaluating this? I guess my only concern is I don't want us to ever get to a point where we're forking out a ton of money when we could have just hired somebody and had someone in-house to do this. And that was the driving force behind asking for this information. We're not there yet, obviously, but I guess my question is, how often are we evaluating?
Even if we had somebody here, even if Carrie was still here, we'd still be using him.
Yeah, we would.
Even if Emily was here, we'd still be using him. Yeah.
But if you had another, that's what I'm saying, though, if it ever got to a point where we're forking out $60,000 a year, that's a tipping point
Yeah,
where we need to
and
look at that.
in larger communities, I mean, if you look at the city of Wausau, they've got
A lot.
planners, they've got a lot more staff. So they've got people who do current planning. And then you've got people who do the zoning stuff and are like. And then you've got the future planners that are doing the comp plan, things like that. So it's hard to flip back and forth between them. So I tend to not ever be able to get into the future and just, my mind kind of goes that way anyway, so I can flip there. But our day-to-day is just getting things reviewed. We're doing current. Someday we will need to look at that
Right.
as the community grows.
Get some?
I just reading description of the work he has done for us over this 9 years. I think we got a pretty good deal out of it.
I
He
agree.
has done a good job.
I agree.
So, it's not that, I think it could be more than this. But I think we should take it and be happy with it. At least I'm happy with it. Let's put it that way, because I understand some of the work he has done here and it take a lot of effort to do it.
Okay. 41, discussion and or possible action on recommendation to the village board on proposed job description and funding for new assistant zoning administrator / code enforcement officer position in planning and development department. Motion to approve by Ermeling, second by Zagami. Anything on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 42, discussion and or possible action on leak detection service contract.
We can approve the 2-year prevent package for cost of $46,500 split between 25 and 26 budget years.
Motion by Pincinel, second by Zagami, on the 2-year agreement, for the set amount, and a question by Jim.
The prevent level of service is just for 2 years, and then we reassess it, or if it's gonna be, like, we see if this is something we need to keep doing, or like, maybe 10 years from now, we ask the robot to look again, or what?
Correct, yeah, I mean, I guess we figure we'll get, after 2 years, kind of know what is the system, how beneficial do we feel what is our benefit, what is our return on investment here? You know, are we getting a lot of good information, all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we've got a lot more leaks than we thought, or maybe we'll get okay, we're doing pretty good, we don't have much for lost water. So,
Good. All right. All those in favor, any more in discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 43, discussion and or possible action on a real estate services contract amendment for the Ryan Street Lift Station project.
Move to approve a contract amendment with Becker Hoppy for an increase of $13,700.
Motion to approve by Cronin for Becker Hoppy with an increase of $13,000, second by Zagami. Anything on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 44, discussion and or possible action on closed landfill monitoring services for 2025.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Zagami, second by Ermeling. Yes?
Yes.
On the discussion. Jim?
Does anyone else do that service, or only my tech?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Does anyone else perform that service, or they're the only garbage sniffers out there?
They have done it since the beginning of these projects. They pretty much know what they're doing and what is the problem, what is not the problem, and I think it's a lot of a saving for us also.
Excellent.
Because you bring in new guys in, he sees something, he's gonna say, oh, that's a contamination, he reported. This guy, they take a look at it, say, what is it, where it's come?
Right, okay, so then on that, is there a way to sign a long-term contract with them instead of talking about it every year? Can we sign a 10-year contract with these guys or something?
I would say 5 years probably is reasonable too.
I can ask for that
We
moving
good?
forward
Yeah.
for next year.
You know, with any kind of stipulation of, any kind of increases.
Yeah.
Steve?
I'm gonna take this one step further. Does Waste Management or Advanced Disposal or whoever they call them, whatever they call themselves now, do they do this type of work?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That answers that question.
Okay, no more discussion? Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those, Michael, you're gonna check into that?
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. 45. Discussion and or possible action on a pedestrian and bicycle master plan request for qualifications.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Zagami,
Second.
second by Ermeling. On the question. Jim?
So the $60,000, that's just the cost for the plan, correct?
Correct.
With nothing being built.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, not good, but good.
So on that kind of a question, so this is what these people do, or do they do other things?
Yeah, so the planning firm, so it kind of goes hand in hand with our corp update and our comprehensive plan update is kind of identifying future pedestrian bicycle facilities, projects that we'd want to take on and.
So they might come in and suggest that we, or recommend that we put sidewalks or bicycle paths with back in where I live, 900 homes.
Yeah.
Cause we're making a green tree, put in sidewalks for their area. We're doing, let's see, sidewalks, back behind Steve where Heath is, also at Birch, but then they lead sometimes into nowhere. So they would come in and say, you need to do bicycle for net connections here, you need to do.
Yeah, they kind of, I guess, help identify the gaps, kind of look at.
Like on Fuller, we're doing one sidewalk, right?
It'll be on both sides from Ross to Rogan. Yeah. And then Rogan to Schofield Ave would be a multi-use path.
Oh, okay, okay.
I talked about this before, but I really like him to take a look at the end of a municipal street where the mountain bay stop.
Yep.
And continue that to Mesker, from Mesker to Carzella across the Ross, and then go over the railroads into Camp Phillips.
Steve?
Do we not just have a good idea on our own of where we need to do this without spending, like, I
They'll provide
understand.
like cost estimates and some of that other.
Well, I understand that, but at the end of the day, a lot of people seem to think that grant money just comes out of thin air. It doesn't. At the end of the day, it's excess tax dollars that we all paid to the federal government that they've decided we're gonna give this out for whatever purpose we want to. And sometimes I sit here and I look at stuff like this and I go, okay, so we're gonna spend $60,000 to find out something that we already know the answer to. I struggle with
Or
that.
that we're not gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
DOT wants to do it, we don't do it, they're gonna get the money, give it to somebody else. Because they have to do it. That's a part of their program. And it's not what we want them, and we didn't even ask for it. I'm sure they sent this letter to all the municipality and they proposed to them to do it. And I know when I was on the bicycle committee at Marathon County, we work on this issue specifically, but we didn't have any grant. And that project just got on the plan, but never got
That sign,
No.
There's a lot of bicyclists out there
that
too.
sightseeing was a bike trip.
Jim?
Are we mandated to do this?
No.
Is this
No.
part of
Isn't
the
that-
corporate comp or?
No, it'd be a part of it. It'd be an enhancement to it. But I mean, looking at ADA compliance, looking at, some of those items that I don't look at on a day-to-day basis. I think it's helpful. I know it's what we talked about when we, I think first asked, should we even apply for this grant? I know we talked with the Parks Committee about it. And I guess, yeah,
Okay.
we received the funding. If we don't want to use it, I guess we don't have to. We do have the RFQ out for consultants currently to look at. Did talk to Mark Roffers, see if he was interested in it. He doesn't do this type of work, but he did say if we do select someone, make sure he is in the loops, because whatever work product they create at the end, he can make sure it's done in a format that can make sure it's easily implemented into our comp plan instead of having to do a bunch of rework.
Good idea. Okay. No more questions? All those in favor say aye. I'm sorry. What?
So is this you're just asking to apply for the grant, correct?
We already received the grant.
Oh, we did receive it. Okay, I'm sorry, I
So
misunderstood.
now we're at the point of sending this out to select the consultant.
Okay, because
I mean.
So we don't, so we'll still have a consultant selection process to go through. This is more or less an FYI. This is on our website saying if you're
Yeah,
interested in submitting a.
yeah, that's what I thought too. Joe,
You
go
have to
ahead.
pay 20%.
Well, I was saying, just watching the news today, I'm thinking that there's gonna be a rather large clawback at the federal level
Mhm.
shortly.
These guys, then if we do those.
You do that idea.
All right, let's see here. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, so carried. Discussion and or action on the planning for the next Village Town Winter Party. No, I'm sorry, Village Town of Weston Residential Refuse and Recycling Contract to begin January 1st, 2026. I asked to have this put on. I want to be careful going into this contract. This is a complete end. There is no 90 days that it'll continue. It can't because it would continue under the current pricing, right?
The
There's
agreement,
nothing in the clause that says that they could up it 30% and if we don't say no,
no, the agreement ends December 31st, 2025.
okay?
But the question this evening is, would we like to, it does allow for the extension of an additional term. Would we like to negotiate for that extension for an additional term? Or would we rather go out for RFP and start the process afresh?
O'Shea?
I think by law, we have to bid this project if it is more than $25,000. And this is definitely the case.
It's a service, so it's not a project. We wouldn't have to bid it. It's a service. It's a service to pick up the trash.
Can they both be done concurrently? Can we start talks with Waste Management or whatever they identify as this week? To
I think
extend the kind of renegotiate, hey, another 5 or 10 or 500 years with those guys, and then also send it out to Harders and any other trash haulers.
I think then it wouldn't be good faith for the pricing that you would be getting from other haulers to put into the work for the RFP.
What?
It wouldn't be good faith.
To
Because
who?
if
To
you,
who?
to the other haulers that might submit a proposal.
So if we go to Waste Management and ask them to continue for 3 more years, it wouldn't be in good faith for the other ones.
So
If we do them at the same time.
our agreement does allow for an extension for an additional 7-year contract. We would renew. But we would renew under current terms, which locks us into CPI or 3%. Now, Waste
Each year
Management,
or for the whole 7 years?
for the 7 years.
Okay.
Now, Waste Management might say, we're not interested, and then we'd have to go to RFP, but we didn't want to ask the question. We wanted to have the discussion with the board first.
Well, I think we should at least ask. I mean, they're located here in Weston. I mean, if they lost our contract, part of me would think they would up and leave. I don't, and then what do you do with it?
There's no guarantee
I
they're
don't
gonna
know.
stay here.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's absolutely no guarantee. I've got a bad taste on the whole deal. I didn't vote the last time. I was not here and I didn't feel I should have voted, but I should have. I know staff was really riled up in this. But when they pulled that recycling thing out, and I know, our past administrator was rooting for them because they weren't making any money. But when they were making money, it was fine. And it was a $70,000 item because that's what everybody bid it to be. And we never got nothing back. I asked them directly to reconsider giving us some of that money back. They never talked to me. You can't even call them. They're extremely hard to work with and they're extremely hard to get out of a contract. It took me almost 2 years to get out of one up in Merrill. And I'm very nervous about this right now. That I think we need to look at that contract and look at the end and the exit to make damn sure we know what we're doing here. And that's why I wanted this on January so that we had a whole year to play with this. But we gotta make sure there's no 90-day rollover, nothing. And because I don't know. I just know that they are the hardest contract to get out of. Can I ask you who you have? You know, in your
I
person,
actually have them.
you do? Okay. Well, I know you do your homework,
Kind of a
so you must.
Goldilocks sweetheart to go deal just like this, like it was a too good to be true, come in here and we'll give you this rock bottom pricing. And then I said, oh, that's great, can I sign a 10-year contract? Yeah, I did. Oh.
And at that time, yeah, see, we got extremely lucky with our 7-year because we went through COVID and all the different things. When I reached out to Harder at a certain point, they said, I can't even touch that right now. But at the end of the 7-year, I guarantee you I'll be lower than them. So just be very careful when you talk to them. because they are very, very tough to deal with. Go ahead.
Harder was lost better in here last time.
I know they were, I know.
They didn't give him the contract.
It got really ugly. It was really stupid with, some of the stuff that happened here. So, Steve?
I just wanted the recycling site is technically still open. You just have to go during between 8 and 4. So it's not open at all hours of the night because,
Yeah,
and I'll admit, like, you know, there was times I was over there at night or whatever, and I would see people dumping stuff, and I understand why they did it. I get it, but I just don't want that misnomer to be out there that you can't take stuff there because you absolutely.
It's
But
incredible.
you have to show them you have to,
It's, yep.
all you gotta do is
Yeah.
walk in and show them your license.
Yeah,
and they let
yeah,
you
I know. It's a whole nother stop the car, then back it up and go over here. You gotta, you know, whatever. It was there for years and years and years.
But
And
it
then
was
all the yeah, that's what they said. But when
It
they were
was
making tons of money on it, there was no misuse. And when the money was great, they were fine. All of a sudden it tightened up like it did everywhere. Nobody wants to deal with that stuff anymore unless you're shredding it or baling it, you know? Anyway, whatever. Jim?
Is this contract for the town and the village? I thought it said village and town. Is there an advantage to having more?
Is it both?
Stops?
Oh, I did not know that.
And they're charged on their tax bill too.
I understand that, but is there an advantage to the village of Weston to have the town on there to have the extra 800 stops or whatever it is? So now it's I don't know, 12,000 stops instead of 11,000 stops or something.
We do get some grant funding, because it's considered a collaborative
A
service.
joint, yeah, they love
So
joint.
there is something that we get, and there's some reduced through Marathon County, because there's something that gets signed each year. And we get additional funding for our refuse and recycling grant, considered a collaborative effort.
Who's Rothschild use?
Rothschild uses, no, Rothschild uses Waste Management, Rib Mountain uses Harders.
Lots uses harder too. And I'm sure we're right in the community with where they're located, but. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, I guess the only thing I would recommend, and I don't know if it would do any good or not when you're negotiating, to get some kind of system where if people need to get in touch with them, they get an answer back instead of some voicemail that's gonna call you 6 weeks from now. But also, I mean, I've heard more people that have complained about trying to get a hold of them and they just can't. And then my son they completely destroyed his garbage can. I mean, I don't know what they did with it. He came home and he said it was just, you know, and he called to try and get a new one. And when they did, I think they said they were gonna deliver it in 2 weeks. Well, his one, he couldn't even put anything in it.
Yeah, there's only one number and one name and it's called Valerie. Valerie is automatic, immediate, on the spot.
Well,
And
yes,
then if they actually call me back because they talked to Valerie, it's like she's the god.
yeah, but
And
she's told me.
because she says it's difficult, but she can get through. She actually gave me the number and I called one time and they asked me how I got the number. And I told her Valerie, and they shut right up. So, Steve?
I'm gonna take a stab at a motion and see if it sticks.
Whoa, is there a motion for this?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna direct staff to review current services and work with Attorney Eady to draft an agreement amendment in an effort to renew our agreement with Waste Management for another 7 years. As part of that agreement, I would like a local number that our residents can contact in the event they need something.
That's an extra $100,000 a year.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and a second on the question. On the question, Jamie, so are you saying that staff can get the contract or start the process of a
Well,
contract?
I think my motion would essentially allow them to talk to them and see if they would even entertain it. If they might come back and say, we're not interested.
And he might. I would just be very careful.
I view this as we would have some sort of tentative outline of what an agreement would include. We would bring that back to the board for review. That would go into a final draft for your approval.
Because then at least we have time to go out for other bids, you know, and let's get this thing started now. Good. All right, I like that. So no more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Discussion and or action on dollar amount used for utility refunds and write-offs. Oh, God, that went on for 30 minutes, I think. We killed it. I'm sorry. I should just shut up and see if somebody says yes.
But do you,
Are you making a motion?
no.
Oh, you're not?
Can I ask what
Motion
the
by
recommendation was?
No? Okay, what?
Can we ask what the recommendation was before we make a motion?
Let's get it on the board first. Let's get it on the table first.
I don't know what was approved to finance.
I was scared. I
I'll
was
make a
scared. I
motion
heard it.
to.
Yeah.
And make a
Motion
motion.
by Ermeling to get it on the floor. We have a second by,
What is the motion?
a motion is to put it on
Get
the floor.
it on the floor.
I'm sure it's whatever you guys discussed at, HR and,
To accept the recommendation.
Yeah.
of finance.
Then I'll second that.
second by Pincinel. So we have a motion by Ermeling, a second by Pincinel to affirm what HR and finance said, 2.5 hours ago. On the discussion.
If you look up at the
The
determination,
one behind me?
next
Okay.
steps
Or way over there? Okay, okay, I got it.
It's on your screens too
no
in the
problem.
packet, so it would be page 308.
We need a James Bond that comes down and goes back up.
But so under number 1, it would change the $5 to 20. And under number 4, it would change the $10 to 20 or as determined by the PSC.
Good for me.
And I have a problem with, because if I overpaid
Yeah, I
by
know.
$10.
I know, I heard it.
Yeah,
$19.
but everybody didn't.
Yeah, oh, okay, you're right, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark, to shut up once in a while, just
Oh, I'm
once,
telling you.
listen to.
My issue, I didn't
Understand,
vote,
not to
I didn't
respond.
vote for it because I think if we owe somebody $20 or $19, we should be giving it back to them. I would be mad if I found out that. Cause somehow, either somebody paid for me or I looked at it wrong and now I'm not even on the utility, so. But that would really make me mad that the village get that money. I mean, if it was, $5, I probably wouldn't have an issue, but when you're talking 20, I would have an issue.
But it's 20 or what the PFC says, or PCF.
No,
or
this for
P-
top one is
Uh-huh.
what we're paying back to the residents. But we're all.
No,
And how-
the top one,
and-
line one, Barb, is if you if there was a short payment by X or miscalculation on the end date of a proration or a late fee or something, less than $20, the village would write it off.
Just an estimate, Jessica, how often do you think we would have to pay someone under $20 back?
I think most of the time what happens, if you don't mind me saying, is people will pay the final bill and it'll be past the due date and there's a penalty applied. So the penalty is what's remaining. I think that happens more than anything, but
But how.
So now we don't
overpayment.
owe them any money. So if they overpay by accident, is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, a final bill
So,
or something.
yeah.
you're asking about the overpayment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
How
often is
often
that?
are people overpaying?
That little dot, so I think stormwater would be a good idea if both customers paid the stormwater. That'd be $12, right?
But I think that it would happen, if it does happen, I think, and don't quote me, but I think it would probably be more than $20, more than likely.
Stormwater.
Not
Seven,
stormwater?
1750 is a quarter. So if they both paid the quarter, it would be, and they weren't otherwise.
Yeah, that would be the only time that would happen.
Yeah, so $17.50 for a stormwater bill. You moved out, you paid your final bill, closing, they paid the final bill. We have a credit of $17.
10 times a year?
But this is
5
just
times a year?
once, this is just once, so they moved
Yes.
out, $17.50 is extra on the account. Do we wanna pay them out or do we wanna keep it?
Every month we probably have, I don't know, a half a dozen to a dozen of these that happen where,
We have to pay them back?
I mean,
But not under 20.
not under 20, yeah. I mean, a lot of them are more. So I mean, generally they're like $40 or more, I'd say that we,
And we pay back.
20 is
Refund.
probably.
so I,
Okay. Any more in discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
We have, all yeses and a nay. But it has carried. All right, 47, done, and, I'm sorry, but I do want to go back to 20. And I want to go back to 23. So we did that concurrently and I didn't get you guys a chance to talk and know how much you guys like that, so. Chief, thank you. Anything on fire that you wanted to add?
A couple little things other than my report in there. we are, and I'm not gonna get too deep into it now, but we're discussing starting an internship program within the fire district to help with a recruitment tool. It'll also help with some additional staffing, although they'll be very especially early in their internship process, they won't have a lot of education and training and knowledge to help us with, but it'll still be an extra body that we can use. So that's being discussed at the SAFER board right now. And then the other thing I have is we did have a structure fire here in the village this afternoon. We actually have our fire investigators over there right now, and I'm going back there after a meeting. Nothing appears to be suspicious at this
What
time.
neighborhood?
What's that?
What neighborhood?
West Raybell.
Where?
West Raybell, so right off Eau Claire
West
Avenue.
Raybell. Oh, Raybell. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's close.
Everyone was okay?
Yes,
Yeah. Wow.
other than a pet.
Oh, shoot. Okay. A bird? Oh, okay. No, it's still a bird. No. I love even goldfish. Chief?
Yep, just a couple items. We have our calls for service. We're up a little bit on our calls for service. We had 2,138. We're also up on traffic enforcement. We're at 338 versus 230, and we're up on crashes a little bit. So in addition to that, we had a new employee start January 2nd. So we're at number 38 for our roster. That's McKenna Zosh. So she came to us from the tech, young, like most of our employees. So first job. And also I made contact with the court today. We are currently entering cases from 2023 that have never been collected on from the village of Weston. And I don't know how far back she's gonna go with them, but it sounds like 7 years. So we're trying to get the tax collection season here on those. So I would say there should be, and I asked the question today, is there gonna be a big windfall coming in? And the answer was probably yes, depending on where we are on the taxes, but I think we're probably gonna end up going back somewhere around 7 years collecting on some of the citations, so. So kind of big news for the court. I'm
Yeah,
really impressed by that because
Yep.
I mean, something's being done on some of these old cases that haven't been collected on. Go ahead.
Can I ask whose responsibility that would have been prior to the merger?
Probably would have to ask your old clerk of court. Because the court system was over here and we did the merger on the court. I'm just saying it like that.
I understand, I'm
We
just,
did the,
We
we did,
knew there was gonna be some issues, trust me.
okay,
We, the judge didn't want to hear anything we had to say on how the processes worked. This was years in working and we could not get nowhere.
so I just have,
They could handle it. They told us no. They wanted to handle the money completely alone, no cameras, no nothing. They wanted to get to collections in cash with nobody else there. We finally took the lock off. I think Roman took the lock off or Scott did. And we had, I mean, there was only 2 months left. And it was unbelievable. We'd go in there and talk and there was cash everywhere. It was unbelievable.
Is there any chance those are the ones that paid and the money didn't get there?
That did what?
That did get in the till?
Yeah, don't know.
Well, we're trying to figure out how she did it, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think what we found out through the courts is the dismissals. The, what'd you call them? It wasn't maybe dismissals, but it was, they would just dismiss the case. Where you guys in Rothschild never did. And
Well-
I'm not saying you said it, but
can I just add to this
yeah,
quickly?
okay.
So in 2015, we brought our court back from Cronenwetter and we used to be joint with Cronenwetter. And when it came back, our court has been fairly transparent and currently our court is very transparent. Our clerk of court, her husband is one of the DCI agents. And so he's got a very good job and he's actually the head of DCI up here in the north. So we have a very transparent court. If anybody ever wants to come in and tour a little court that we have and sit down and just have a conversation, it's very enlightening to see what she has to do. And we're not charging, the court is not charging any extra to go back on those cases. But she's the only one that can collect on those. If she said, I'm not doing anything with them, I really don't have any authority on that.
Right.
But she is taking this on herself and we did hire a part-time clerk in there. There's a lot of work involved in those cases. They've been entered in the system. They just haven't been followed up and properly adjudicated. So
Well, I remember one of the last years, we looked at the cases Rothschild had, and we looked at the cases that EMPD had. EMPD had well over 1,000 more cases. And we were collecting 40 grand less than Rothschild.
the point is we don't.
There's something wrong. Yep.
we don't write citations to punish people. We write them to change behavior. But we need a court system that is doing their job to be on top of it, because every one of those citations need to be collected on, and they go into a court, an intercept, tax intercept. And so that's what she's trying to get to, so we can get first in line on those. So go ahead.
I guess my question kind of is there legal action that we need to take? Was there any wrongdoing?
The only way,
We just
don't-
we just had the same issue here not too long ago, and I'm wondering if we're finding ourselves in the
The
same
only way you
situation.
can is if there's criminal activity that was taking place that can be proven. So,
I think we're gonna be able to say there was some issues, but we're not gonna be able to prove it. And we got no help. We got no help at all from them. So anyway,
but the court is very transparent, and if there's any board member that ever wants to come in, I'll take you right down there and at least meet the court clerk, and she can actually show you the system, and then you have an understanding on what is happening. But if nobody is overseeing the court system and you don't have a good working relationship, there's potential there could be problems because it's isolated.
I do want to add one thing under, it's not agended, but I do want to bring it up. I could bring it up under president remarks. But I got asked tonight by Husheng if we had bought some land for the police department, and shame on me. This is completely all on me that I did not share that information. I asked Barb and she said she heard it, but she feels like she wasn't told. And so Joe, if you didn't know, I'm telling you now, but I'm telling the whole board. Jim's on the board. I think Steve and I have talked about it already, but Mountain Bay Metro Oversight Committee did buy some property. It is west of the Aspirus Clinic, you know, where memory care was, you know, so there was some land in there. We looked at, you know, probably $3 to $4 million renovating Rothschild, and Rothschild's, all the houses around there are all owned by Rothschild. In fact, officers live in them all and rent them in them all. And to put that structure there, or enhance that structure with a garage and different things, you know, we're looking at the river across the street, you know, that's kind of a void. We actually started thinking about Krieger's flower shop, you know, thinking that that'd be a good pivotal spot, you know, and then take some tax base away from Schofield. I'm just kidding. But then we actually thought about it more and getting some, you know, other agencies and help. And the real deal is that highway access. And the highway access is really what put us where we did buy the property. We bought some property, some vacant land. If you're gonna go to that Stein Eye Clinic, if you take that corner and you're going to Aspirus, it's right there. I don't remember how many acres was it?
7.5.
7.5? Okay, I thought it was more, but 7.5.
But it's adjacent to the Village of Weston property that's currently owned.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right. So, and the cost on that, Jamie, was like
Three,
380, oh, I was gonna say 386.
384.
how much?
384.
384, okay.
It's all, was 7.5 is buildable?
No.
Yeah, there's a portion of it that has the gas line that's running
Gas
through
line
it,
goes
so
through
that,
right there. Yep.
however, the way they have a potential design laid out, it's only one parcel would be built on, the other parcel would be a vacant parcel yet.
Yep. And the structure right now is just a proposal. Not out for bids yet. We're actually asking for some state help, and we've had some meetings with some senators and some assemblymen, but I think the footprint, just the overall footprint was what?
28,000.
28,000 square feet? Okay, so we can share those designs with you. It's my fault that I didn't put it out there. I honestly, this probably happened, what, 3-4 months ago? Maybe even longer. And it went really, everything went fast. I mean, the merger went fast, everything went fast. I think we're on our second survey on the department. The first one was incredible. Jim actually asked it on the oversight board, and now we did another one. And I would be shocked if it didn't come back good. It's a very, very healthy environment. Jim?
Here's another rare one. You probably don't see me defend you often, but.
I love it. Okay, go ahead. And I meant the backwards hat. The forward hat, leave it on.
It wasn't.
I
put
meant
on here,
backwards.
just- So that stuff would show up if the minutes were here, and I had reached out to the administrator and the clerk to see if we could get some of those minutes. It
Yeah.
was logged in the minutes. There's some great stuff that came from the Safer Board. I know we recently added that to packet, so that would also be another avenue. You don't have to go flipping through stuff other places
point.
that doesn't actually exist right now.
but it will, so.
I agree with Jim. So I just wanna throw that
You
back.
noted in the minutes.
Yeah. They agree with one another.
I think we should be getting some stars, some stars, stick on stars. All right, Joe's, I can hear Joe grumbling here, so,
Okay, a quick
yeah.
nosy question. What in the world on Saturday, was there some kind of grants for having police officers out for speeding or?
Oh,
There was, I went to, by Marshfield over that way. And I wasn't driving, but I've been laughing because every time you turned around, there was a squad car pulling somebody over or sitting there waiting to pull somebody over. Luckily, we weren't speeding.
I love it. I love it when I see officers.
I think
This
that
was
yeah.
really
productivity around here is very good.
Mhm.
And so if squad cars are stopping people, that's driving crime out. So I don't,
I
they've
just,
been doing
because
a
there
good
was so
job.
many, I thought maybe there was some kind of grant that for speeding or something that the police departments had gotten because it was really,
There are some speed grants that are out there in traffic, OWI grants, and this is one other thing that probably nobody announces, but we do have 30 squad cars in our fleet. And sometimes almost all of those, tend to be out at a time, either in the shop or on the road or something going on, but that's very impressive to think about that we have enough vehicles
like I
to have
said,
people out there
it
doing
was
it.
not just here, it
Yeah.
was all the way.
Can you get one of those, for the board, those pictures?
Didn't I get enough from?
Yes.
Everyone should have got theirs except for Trustee Island just because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I
'Cause
have. theirs.
those are really neat. Yeah, okay. And like the chief said, that those are, what do you call it, education, or when you pick somebody up? It's not punish, it's
Well, we're here to educate and
educate, but it's also what I heard
deter.
to deter, but years ago it's a touch. And it's amazing what happens on a touch. When you pull somebody over for speeding, what else sometimes happens? I don't know what the percentage is, but you can do drugs, all kinds of different things can happen at that point, so.
But I welcome anybody to come down, even to take a tour of our building, just to see the conditions, but the court is a big one, just to
Yeah.
see what's happening
Okay.
there, so.
Okay, so we'll move this on, but I'm sorry that I didn't let you guys in there. Motion to move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin stat.
Do you want to do everything else first?
Oh, sure. Let's do everything else first. All right, so we're back in open session, closed session items, attorney referrals, any? None?
I do have, President Maloney and Trustee Kinsella had asked about a legal opinion about the delay in the tax bill mailing. And this is that opinion
Oh,
from
okay,
Attorney Edy.
thank you. So, but any attorney referrals? No? Administrator referrals?
Okay.
Remarks from trustees? Any remarks from trustees? No? No? Remarks from me? No? Happy New Year, everybody. Halfway into it. And future items, next meeting date is Monday, February 17th, 2025 at 6 PM. Wow, I'm not gonna be here.
I'm not gonna be here.
Yeah. And the election is on the 18th? Ooh, spooky.
I'm not gonna be here for the next board meeting.
Nope.
Okay.
I'll be, Keith Urban invited my wife and I to a concert in
Oh,
Vegas.
personally?
Yes. That's what I'm telling everybody.
But you had to pay him.
Yeah.
So you had to pay him.
No, he paid me. He wants to put me in the front row. Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants this body in the front row at one of his concerts. Huh?
I was thinking.
Oh, that's
Chesney.
hilarious. Yeah, no, not Kenny Chesney. I said Keith Urban.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he wears those big moon boots and he's married to that real tall gal.
Nicole Kidman.
Her, that's who she is. Yeah, yeah, invited us out there. I'm shocked.
Yes, I will be out of.
I am too.
I will be out of town on the
Okay.
17th.
We will have to pause because you likely want to take a motion when you come back into open, so.
Okay, so you're gonna be gone, you're gonna be gone. Okay, good to know.
So you can run it.
I got it.
You got her. You'll be fine. Yeah, come back on Thursday. We'll see how that all works. Okay, so we're back in the, can we go to closed session now? All right, thanks, everybody. Motion to move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin stat 19.85, parent 1, parent C. Consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility to wit. Recommend 2025 market adjustment compensation changes for competitiveness and recommend merit adjustment compensation changes for performance. Second bullet point, reclassification review procedure from public works maintainer to public works operator. We need a motion
Motion to move into closed session.
by Cronin, second by Pincinel. Roll call.
Maloney,
Yes?
Cronin,
Yes.
Ermeling,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Pincinel,
Yes.
Sagami.
Yes.
1 second.
We are
Let me just
now
get,
in closed session. We have a potty break.
let me get our,
All those in favor say
All right.
aye. Opposed? So carried.
You want us to do that again for
no,
you?
no, no, it's fine.
Okay. All the rest was handled. Future items, Monday, February 17th, 2025. I'd love it if we'd move the meeting, but you certainly don't have to. And don't. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
By Pincinel, second by Ermeling. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, adjourned at 8:29 PM.
Look at what I got on mine.